everyone, welcome to the OklaRoots YouTube channel. In today's embroidery tutorial, we're going to be going over one of the most popular items to embroider, especially on a multi-needle embroidery machine. We're going to be going over these cuties, these beanies. Beanies are such a fun, quick, easy item to embroider. To be completely honest, the process is pretty simple, pretty safe. You really don't have a lot of complications or problems. It's the digitizing. You want to make sure it gets done right. As always, if you're new to this, I do highly recommend you reach out to a digitizer. I will have a link down in the description of this video of where I got my logo digitized. However, if you're looking to digitize your own logo, definitely check out the software out there. I use Chroma Inspire and Chroma Lux. Both have been great. Both allow me to digitize the same logo the same way that I did when I purchased it from somebody else. So, beanies are a really hot item, especially for people who sell items. A lot of small businesses, a lot of big businesses, a lot of activities, groups, sports teams, things like that. A lot of different groups want embroidered beanies, and they're willing to pay you a pretty good markup for the beanie. So for small businesses, beanies tend to be a big money maker. To be completely transparent, I do sell these beanies in my own shop and they sell very, very well. So I'll show you. We have a couple other little versions here, like this little pink one. So this is more of like a knitted beanie. This is just like a typical beanie. I pretty much always have a palm on my beanies because I love them. However, you don't have to have them. Here's another one. And then here's another version of the knitted ones. And so I will have a link down in the description of this video where I get my beanies from, and you can go check out my shop to see how I price them. So in today's tutorial, I'm gonna be walking you through how to make the beanie from beginning to end. I am using a design that I've already had and digitized for me. When you have an image digitized for a beanie, you wanna make sure you let the digitizer know that this is going to be a beanie digitized design, because it's gonna need a little bit of extra work. For example, you're gonna want usually a knockdown stitch, which is going to be just like this kind of looser stitch that covers the entire outline of your logo. And then that gives it a really nice base for your embroidery so that you're not stretching it too much. And that's one thing you'll notice about beanies is that they're very stretchy, they're very fluffy, squishy, they're very comfy. And we love that because it feels really good when we wear them. However, that makes it a little bit challenging for the machine because the machine really wants a firm, flat surface. So I'm gonna show you how we do that and all the tools I use to get a really nice crisp finish. So today I'm going to be showing you how we do beanies over here at Studio B. This is not how everybody does beanies. To be completely honest, I have watched quite a few different tutorials and there are different methods to do this. I might not do something that a lot of other people do. I might do something a lot of people don't do. So if you have any other methods of how you like to do your beanies, please make sure you leave a comment down below with more tips and tricks and suggestions. I'm still learning. This does work for me, but it might not be the best method, so I would love to learn what else you like to do. So in today's tutorial, I will be embroidering on this adorable little pom-pom beanie here. I am doing these fold over beanies, which means I will unfold this. I will show you how I rotate it, how you have to think about it. If you're doing a beanie that's like this, where it doesn't have a fold over, and then you're going to embroider the design right here on the bottom, you're gonna wanna make sure you rotate your design upside down. So I'll show you when I'm at the machine and I'll make sure I give you that little tip over there. But since we're folding this up, we're actually going to be embroidering it with the right direction. I'll go over all that in the video, don't worry. But just remember, if it's like this, it's gonna be a little different than what I show you today in the tutorial, because I like a little cuff. I like a cuff and I like a palm. That's just how I like my beanies. So if you're new to the OklaRoots YouTube channel, please consider clicking subscribe down below. If at any point you like this video, please give it a like. Any questions, comments, anything you want to say at all, leave them down in the comment section of this video. I don't think there'll be timestamps, but if there are timestamps, it'll be at the very top of the comment section. It'll be a comment from me, and all you have to do is click on the number and it'll take you straight there in the video. Once again, thank you so much to Ricoma for allowing me to play with this awesome 10 needle EM-1010 Ricoma embroidery machine. I have been having so much fun with it. A lot of you have been checking in on me to see how do I still like it. I absolutely love it. I could 100% without a doubt suggest this to anybody who's doing embroidering. It has been so much fun. It has been a fun tool to play with. It's also a really good business investment if you're looking to add embroidery to your business. So if you're interested in the Ricoma EM-1010 or any of the other machines, I will have a link for them down in the description of this video. All right, let's get started. Okay, to embroider your beanie, these are the things you're gonna need. It actually doesn't require a whole lot of stuff. First, you're gonna want some tearaway stabilizer. We're gonna use just one layer of this today. You're gonna need some scissors for cutting your stabilizer. Obviously, if you're embroidering on a beanie, you're gonna need a beanie to embroider on. We're gonna also be using a small cut of aqua top, and I'll show you the process for that. We don't put this on right away. The thread I'll be using today is the Madeira 40 weight thread. We're gonna also be using some temporary adhesive spray just to hold our stabilizer in place. You're gonna also want a marker. This is just going to help you mark the midpoint on your beanie. However, if you're using a darker colored beanie, a little piece of tape will also work great. Speaking of tape, we're going to be using Scotch tape to help hold everything in place. And as always, I will be using my favorite hoops, these mighty hoops. This is the 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch size. These are fantastic for beanies. Fantastic. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find the midpoint on your cuff of your beanie where you're going to want to put your design. So my beanie is about 8 inches wide and about 3 inches high. So I'm going to find the midpoint at 4 inches and then 1.5 inches from the bottom folded edge. You could also measure from the top if you'd like. To be completely honest, we're not super precise about this. I've seen a lot of people print out an image of their design and then use that to center this. We know the size of our design from digitizing it, so we know that it will fit in this space. However, if it makes you more comfortable, go ahead and print out your finished design size from your computer, cut it out, and lay it on your beanie just to make sure the size and the location of it is appropriate for what you're doing. Okay, so once you have the midpoint marked on your beanie, you're gonna grab the bottom hoop and you're gonna lay that so that it is wrong side down, just like it's gonna go in the machine. This part right here where this little nub is, this is going to be pointing away from me in the machine. So this right here will be against my belly and this will be in the opposite direction. I have a piece of tearaway stabilizer cut at 3.5 inches by 8 inches. And I'm going to line this up so it's just 1/2 inch away from the side that's going to be facing away from me in the machine. So this is for me is the side that has that little nub there. And I'm just eyeballing this. You're more than welcome to grab a ruler and measure this. But it's just about 1/2 inch up from that edge. So then grab a couple pieces of your Scotch tape and you want to keep this as tight as possible. So we're just going to tape down the sides and then just wrap the tape around the sides of your hoop. All right, once you have your stabilizer taped down, you can set that to the side for just a moment. So now we're going to grab our beanie and we're going to flip the whole unit inside out, making sure that the part with our dot is staying on the outside. And then lay this out nice and flat. Make sure you're keeping your dot in the center. If you want to grab a ruler just to make sure you haven't shifted your design in any way, go ahead and do that, but you should be okay. So now grab your temporary adhesive spray and just spray your tearaway stabilizer. Take your hat, and the opening is going to be towards that nub over there. So we're just going to insert it over our hoop and line up the bottom edge of our beanie with this bottom cut edge of our stabilizer. Make sure it's centered. And then once you have it all lined up and it's nice and straight, lay it nice and flat with your hands. So if you have like a little bump right here, just go ahead and stretch it just a little bit. You don't want to really tug on this and stretch it out because then whenever you embroider it and then you release it from the hoop, it's going to be kind of wavy around your design. We want to keep the fibers nice and straight. But once you have it the way you want it, grab your top hoop and then all we have to do is pop it down. Here we go. And now it is in the hoop, ready to go. So now we're going to take this to the embroidery machine and we're going to load our design. One thing you want to remember is this bottom loose edge of your beanie needs to go underneath this center arm of your machine. We don't want to embroider through both sides of the beanie. So just pop your hoop into place, make sure everything is nice and flat, make sure you didn't bunch anything up. So now as you can see, I already have my design loaded on the machine. One thing I want to note is with the colors, on the first color, this is going to be my knockdown stitch. Now this is going to be a color that's the same color as my beanie material. I really don't want this to be noticeable. This is just going to give my embroidery design a really nice flat surface for stitching. So you can see on this first step here, I have an F next to it. That means I want the hoop to float after it's done. So after it does the knockdown, I want the hoop to come out because then I'm going to put my aqua top on and continue stitching. So I stop at this first step, but then I let the machine do the rest of the work. Okay, so now I'm going to set my machine to needle number 1. And I'm going to push down needle number 1, and I want this to be in the same spot as my midpoint marked dot. You can see it's a little bit off, so I'm just going to use the arrows on my machine to get this needle to line up with that dot. Okay, so once I have my midpoint mark, now I'm just going to trace my design. Now, since this is such a tiny hoop, we're not going to push this all the way down when we trace it the first time, just in case it hits the edges. We don't want to deal with that. So as you saw when I was tracing this out, it gets very close to the edges. That's just because my design is on the bigger side. You could always use a smaller design, but you do want to make sure you trace this out before you start stitching. Okay, once your design is traced out and you have your colors picked, now we're just going to click start and let it do the knockdown stitch, and then I'll add the aqua top. Okay, so after you have that knockdown done, then grab a small piece of aqua top, and we're just going to lay it so that it covers the knockdown completely. And you just want to get this as flat as possible. Use some tape and just tape it to the frame. There we go. As you can see, I just kind of loosely covered it. So now I'm just going to put this back in the machine, and the machine is just going to finish running the entire design. All right, there we go. Once the stitching is done, we can just remove this, and I'm going to show you how to get that aqua top off. Okay, so now what you can do is just grab your aqua top and just peel this off. Go ahead and take this out of the hoop and flip this over and then pull off your tearaway. All right, so now you see my hat is inside out and it should be upside down. What you can do if you don't want to add water is just grab some tweezers and pull off the aqua top with the tweezers. Or you can grab a spray bottle. So I've got like this Mr. spray bottle and just get it just a little wet. Let that sit for just a couple seconds and then grab your towel and just wipe it all off. Okay, now we're just going to reach in and pull that palm out so that we have right side out. And there you go. Now your beanie is completely embroidered. It is a quick, fast, fun project, a great use for the Ricoma, and fantastic if you have a small business. All right, check out your beanie. Isn't this so adorable? I just love how creative you can get with this. If you have an idea, you can get it digitized. You can put it on any beanie you want. It's just so much fun. Trust me, once you start ordering a couple of these, you're going to go back and probably do what I did and order way too many more different colors because you're just gonna see how beautiful this is. So I hope this tutorial inspires you to go out and make a beanie if you haven't already. If you are a beanie pro, please leave a comment down below and let me know any tips and tricks you have. I love making these. If you want to check out the beanies that I have right here, I will have a link for my shop down in the description of this video. As always, thank you Ricoma for allowing me to play on this fantastic machine. I highly recommend one if you're interested in learning more about those. I will have a description down below. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week. Get out there and make something. Bye, guys.